Hi, welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. Now, for those of you who have already viewed our show, you know the format that I typically have a guest and I interview them about what they're up to, what their spiritual journey has been, and so far it's been going really great. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. A couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of having a guest on the show named Beth Leas. And tonight, instead of me interviewing her again, she's going to interview me. So this is going to be turning the tables a little bit. So welcome to Spiritual Connection, Beth.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you. I'm so excited about the turning of the tables.
Yeah, well, it's a little different for me.
How are you feeling?
I have to say I'm a little nervous about this because I don't know what you're going to ask me. But I figure, I can always edit it out if it's not a question I want to ask.
Or not.
Or not. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So I love hearing about people's stories, so I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay, cool.
So,
well, for those of you who didn't, for those of you in the viewing audience who didn't meet Beth, let me just tell you a little bit about her.
Okay.
Okay. So she has a spiritual practice. She does healings. She does what else?
Meditation, tarot.
Yeah, a lot of different things. And she also is the founder and director of the TLC Center, which is here in Norwalk, and that has a whole group of holistic practitioners that meet regularly. And
and that's how we met.
Exactly, that's how we met.
Which is so awesome.
Were you going to ask me that question? Or?
No.
Okay. Darn, that would have been an easy one. All right.
And one of the things that I really admire about you, and I found myself drawn to you initially, was just your love of connecting people and supporting people, and that really resonated for me. So,
well, turns out we do have that in common.
We do.
We do.
So
yes.
How did your spiritual journey begin?
Okay. I think that it started, I'm not sure, it was about 12 years ago. And, at that time, I didn't realize that anything was missing in my life. I had a great life. I'm married. I have a son who's an adult now. But I met someone who, she just opened up a whole new world for me. And I met her through the person that cuts my hair. Isn't
That's
that how it always
way.
starts, right? Her name is Effie at Effie's Salon. In fact, I just saw her today. And she said, "Have you met Kathy French?" And I said, "No, why would I want to meet Kathy French?" She goes, "Well, trust me, you will want to meet Kathy French." So I did, and before I knew it, she invited me to this kind of a group, like an introduction about something she was doing. And I said, "Sure, I'm interested in that." And sure enough, I was there with a group of, I think it was probably all women. And she did some exercises, she did some releasing, and talking about stuff, and it just all sounded really interesting to me. That's the best way I can describe it. I was just interested.
What were you interested in about it?
I think that the whole idea of there is another world that's open to us as humans, as individuals, and that is the whole spiritual world. And of course I knew that this existed, but I didn't know how personal it could be and how helpful it could be.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
So what is spirituality to you?
Well, yeah, it's a very personal thing, as we're learning from all of the people that I've been having on my show. To me, it's really a part of who we are as humans. It's not something we practice. It's not something outside of ourselves so much.
So it's different than religion.
Yes, in that sense it is, because religion is something we practice, and it's like our belief system. Spirituality is really who we are, so it's not something separate. It's more like it's just a natural part of us. We don't have to look for it. We just have to access it. That's my experience of it. We just have to tune in to ourselves, number one, because my personal belief system is that we all have a part of God in us, in our hearts, and we're all connected, we're all the same. So we're all, we can just reach out and be connected to each other and that's spirituality, because
Right.
we're connecting spirit to spirit, if you will.
That's very cool. So what are you currently doing?
Well, currently, yeah, what am I doing? So I'm a transformation coach, so I work with individual clients and sometimes groups to talk about transforming their lives. And I love that, because what I learned, the way I became a coach was through, it's a course, I guess, called Coaching for Transformation. And it's through the Leadership That Works is the name of the company that runs it. It's out of New York City. And this was also something I just kind of fell into that I didn't really know I wanted to do.
Sounds like you do that a lot.
Well, that's true. And actually, Kathy French said that to me. She said, there's something, you always say yes. You're like kind of open to like exploring, and I guess that's my nature. I'm curious. I love learning,
Yeah, you're open to
constantly.
new experiences.
Yeah, and to me, it's not frightening. It's just interesting. Because to me, there's like fear is one of the emotions or parts of us that holds us back.
Right.
So it's either let go of it, and this has not been easy, of course. Everybody has some fears along the way, but lately it's just like, I'm just going for it.
You're just going to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like starting the show, it was like, wow, my sister-in-law had a show. I think, you might have seen her. I interviewed her. And I thought, she said, you could do this. I said, really? She says, yeah, just go do it. I'm like, well, is it really that easy? And it turns out, yeah, it is. By the way, anybody can do this if they have,
If they say yes.
If they say yes, and if they want to. It's about following your passion. And one of my passions is connecting people, connecting with each other, connecting with our spiritual natures. So that's what that was about for me.
So what happened next on your spiritual journey after you went to that workshop?
Oh yeah, okay. So we're going back and forth here.
Uh-huh.
All right, okay. You're not going to be linear.
No.
Okay,
there's
I'm a
something
very linear.
about
I'm
me.
very linear. So that's where we diverge. What happened after that? Okay, so I thought, then I took the next level of so it was called One Light Healing Touch. It was the modality that Kathy, she started a school, so I enrolled in her little school, and it was small, like 12 people, and we met, I think once a month for a whole weekend for like a year or something like that, and then they had another level called the Master's Level, and that was taught by the person that Kathy learned from.
Awesome.
Yeah, his name is Ron Lavin, and he founded this One Light Healing Touch. So I did that, and I just got deeper into it, and realized it's so helpful. I saw so many people just transform their lives that way.
Can you describe what One Light Healing Touch is?
Yeah, sure. It's similar to Reiki. Some more people are familiar with Reiki. It's a form of energy healing where, as a healer, we're the conduit for the spiritual energy and the light. And so whatever the client needs at that moment, that's what we, are drawn to do or called to do. So it could be releasing old energy that's stuck, that, you may not even be aware of something that happened when you were younger, some trauma that just kind of stuck in your body, or it could be something that happened yesterday and it's still floating around in your head and you're like, maybe you're aware of that, but you don't know why you're feeling anxious or
Right.
something like that. So it's a lot of just working with the body's natural energy, but then also bringing in some light, clearing, healing, refreshing. You work with the chakra system.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's a very valuable tool.
That's awesome. So then what was the next thing that you said yes to?
Yeah. So I never actually started a business as a healer. I just did it with family and friends, and when people asked me, and then, so that was that. So the next thing I did was I stumbled upon the Graduate Institute.
Love the Graduate Institute.
Okay, you're familiar with them?
Of course.
In Bethany,
Yes.
Connecticut. Yeah, well, I'd never heard of them. So there's so many things I've never heard of, and you just stumble upon. Somebody sent me an email or something, I don't remember, but they had an open house, and I said, this looks interesting. So I dragged a friend of mine, grabbed her. I said, let's go check this out. And they had a couple of different courses they were talking about. And something about that, it just like really appealed to me. And the one I ended up doing was a master's in leadership.
Wonderful.
And what I learned through that is that leadership is about who you are.
Stepping into your power?
Your power, your self-awareness, and being that person that can make a difference for other people. Really, that's what it is. And I found that's my calling. I want to be that person that makes a difference for other people.
And you are.
I am.
Yes,
Thank
you are.
You. I never think about it, but that's the one thing that Beth, you have helped me with is stepping into that too, and just owning, yes, I have made a difference. And it's interesting that comes up tonight, because the other thing that I did that I almost forgot about, but it was after that, was the landmark trainings, which they start with the Landmark Forum, and then they have a whole curriculum for living. They have an advanced course. They have self-expression leadership program. And then after that, they have seminars. You get one free after you do the forum, but then you can sign up every year. I think they have two. Or no, I'm sure they have many, many more than that. But they have one in Westchester, in White Plains, which is closer to where I live than going into New York City. So I've been taking the seminars, and that's what it's really all about. They have different names for the seminars, like the one we're doing right now is called Beyond Fitness, and it's about your vitality, your fitness, all of those, your well-being. But really, what it's about is making a difference in the world.
In the world?
In the world. Yeah. And I'm not one of the people, and it's about sharing. If you're familiar with the Landmark format, we really learn and reach other people through sharing, and especially our vulnerability.
Right.
And, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you. I must be okay with that.
You said yes.
I did. But I feel like in that environment, there's people there who have been in the Landmark conversation for 40 years or
Wow.
30 years. They've taken 50 seminars. I was like on my third one. So I don't typically get up and share. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I learn from the other people. I feel like they have so much more to offer. And then, the leader just said, okay, Katie, just get over it. And so last time I stood up and I
Wow,
and I
how
shared.
powerful.
Yeah, and I said, you know what, I'm acknowledging that I am making a difference. And it just, everybody's like, well, of course. Well, it's just hard. It's harder for me.
You had to witness it for yourself.
It's harder for me to acknowledge that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
but
powerful stuff.
It is, but it's what drives me.
Right.
Yeah. So, because I learned through the Coaching for Transformation, well, a lot of things, but what I was going to mention right now is that we make a difference in all the time, but we also need to continue that. It's not like we just do it once and it's a process.
Yeah, well, helping people, and being allowing ourselves to be vulnerable as practitioners and continuing to remain vulnerable, I think, is our greatest strength in helping people.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
True. I think so. I do, because that's where you truly connect with someone.
Right.
When they see you, and then they allow you to see them. Because if there's some kind of a barrier there, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Lots of power there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So then what'd you do?
Okay. This will end up being a long, we might have to do a two-parter. Okay, so I did the coaching. Okay, so I did the Landmark. Actually, before that, I think I did I started spiritual leadership training.
What's that?
Well, it's hard to describe, but so I met through Kathy French, I met some other spiritual leaders that she works with, and they have various classes that they teach, and one is called spiritual leadership.
So what does it mean to be a spiritual leader?
Well, I think it's just like any other leader. The more clear we are, the more we can do for others. So it's about spiritual evolution and evolving to be the best person you can be, and find out why you are here on earth. What is your mission? What is your purpose? And taking everything that you've learned and just kind of putting that aside. Like all the programming that we get when we're younger, all the
Right.
the things that we're told who we are, and that's not who we are.
All those stories that we
All this stuff.
tell ourselves and that other people have told for us.
And the experiences that we've had that we have put meaning to and interpretation to, such as, well, I'm worthless. I don't know about you, but I think a lot of us, somehow along our life, we not necessarily get that message, but we translate what we got into that message.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. Because a lot of times those things that we tell ourselves aren't factual. They're just the stories around the facts. It's like what happened to us, we can't change that, but we can change the stories that we tell about what happened to us.
Right. And one thing I learned through spiritual leadership training was one of the first tenets you learn is when you change the way you're looking at something, that something changes.
That's so powerful.
And it is powerful. And when you think about it, well, it totally makes sense. And then you actually practice it and experience it, and you see for yourself, yeah. But it's not something that I had really. It was kind of new for me, I have to say. It was very powerful.
It is very
sort
powerful.
of new to me. So that's one example. Right now, we're doing a spiritual. So I did a whole. I don't know, like a session, not a set, but it's like 10 sessions, so it's a whole course in spiritual leadership training. And now, that was last year, now we're starting a new course, and it's not the same. So even though I've already done it, it's different.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get what you need to learn the first time around, and then the second time around, you just get it at a different level.
Yeah, right. Or you get something a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, we have in one of the trainings, the forms of energy work that I do, Jinshin Jitsu, there's one 5-day training. And the people that have been doing Jinshin Jitsu for 30 years are taking the same class as the people that are doing it for the first time. And there's something really powerful in that kind of learning, where the people that have been doing it a long time learn a lot from the people that are taking it for the first time. And the people that are taking it from the first time obviously learn a lot from the people that have been doing it a long time. But it's seeing with beginner's eyes,
Yeah.
which is really powerful.
Right. It totally is. And that was a big tenet of the Coaching for Transformation.
That's way cool.
And anything else, that we're learning. And so this new course, we just started, the first session was last weekend. And the question that we pondered, and now, of course, I can't remember what it was. But it was, what do you want to do? Something like that. Like, what is the difference that you want to make, or something like that.
What's the change you want to make in
Yeah,
the world,
something
kind of
like
thing?
that. So I was thinking about that. If I think of it later, I'll tell you. But so there's always something new that that we're incorporating. And there's one person in the class who's never taken it before, and another person who's taken it several times. Another, so it's like you said, there's all different levels.
Yeah, that's way awesome.
Yeah.
And then
That's
aren't you doing some shamanic practitioner work too?
Oh, thank you.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I did that, and actually, it's the same teacher. So
Wonderful.
She's been doing shamanic for as long as anybody I've ever talked to. So she's really into it, and that I did both levels of that, and it really resonated with me. I enjoyed it, and I can see it's another tool that really helps people get clear. I love that we learned how to do extractions. We learned to do soul retrievals. Of course, got my tower animal.
Awesome.
Which was really very, very interesting how that
That
turned
process.
out. Yeah, and also how it turned out. And you know, our master healer and our master teacher. So I'm doing that with
That's
some people.
wonderful.
I'm enjoying doing that, and you know, because it does involve percussion. So I have a drum, and it's it's an ancient form of healing. I think it's like thousands. Tens of thousands of years old.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
how does your spirituality inform your daily life?
Well, how does it for my daily life?
Like how do you incorporate it into your daily life, or how do you access it in your daily life?
Yeah, I think it's not even on a conscious level sometimes, because it's a self-awareness, and it's a gratitude that's there all the time. So that's it's not even accessing it so much as it's just there, really. And feeling that strong connection to something that's bigger than I am.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and a higher level of consciousness. So, I mean, the thing is, I don't get stressed out anymore.
That's a beautiful thing. Are there certain practices that you do every day? Like,
Well, probably not every day, but just about. Morning and meditation in the morning.
awesome.
And prayer, and in the evening.
So
Yeah.
what would be your suggestion for people that are wanting to access their spirituality? Well, they're saying, I'm not really spiritual.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, it depends on what people gravitate towards, and whether they're, visual or also like to read. I would say, there's plenty of writings on the topic.
Can you recommend some of your favorites?
Let me think. I haven't read anything recently. Can you think of
Like,
anything?
do you like Eckhart Tolle or?
Yeah. I don't think I've read a whole book of his. I'm pretty, I pick up a book and I'll read it, a little bit of it, and then I'll put down, then I'll read a little bit of it.
Read it a little more later?
I like, oh gosh, and I really am not good at remembering titles either. I think, some of the stuff Marianne Williamson has written,
Yeah.
I think is really good.
She has awesome stuff.
I like to watch Brene Brown's
Brene Brown is awesome.
stuff. But there's a lot out there. And I think just talking to people, calling me, coming to some beginner meditation classes, if you just...
Groups are a great way to access
Right.
things, right, and find out information. And
Because you can't just say, oh, start meditating. I mean, it didn't work for me. I don't know about, well, for you, you did it a little bit differently.
I
remember your journey was different. You taught yourself. But for me, I really had to see it in action.
yeah, meditation in a group is so much easier, I
Yeah.
think, than doing it by yourself, especially
Yeah.
initially.
Like
It's very
guided
powerful.
visualizations.
And there are lots of meditation groups in all the towns around.
There are.
You just
there
have to dig
there are
for
a lot of
them a little bit.
spiritual groups. Even if you go on Meetup, there's a
Meetup's
lot
a
of
great place to access
there's a lot of
those.
spiritual groups. I wasn't expecting that, and I did start a Meetup a couple of years ago. I don't know how many hundreds of members, but they don't seem to be that involved. So I'm actually thinking about turning it over to somebody else to run it.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did quite a few of those, and we did get, I did some at my house, I did some at Yoga 203, I did some at another yoga place, and people, initially I think they were kind of curious, but for whatever reason, they have a lot going on, I think.
I think that's true in our world today. People are feeling stressed out and not enough time, and people are looking at screens all day. They're not really. I think there's both a longing for community and also pulling back from community, kind of at the same time.
That's interesting that you say that, because the guest who we had, I'm not sure when the show's going to run, but I interviewed her last week. Nadja Strider, and she works for the Center for Internet and Technology Addiction. And she was talking about that conundrum between, technology can bring us together because we go on the internet, we find things, then we, can find like-minded people that we want to connect with. But on the other hand, we might be just sitting at home,
in our little bubble, right?
Yeah.
Behind our screen, hiding behind our screen.
So it's a challenge to keep that going.
So what's important to you?
What's important to me? Well, self-awareness is important. Helping other people reach their potential is very important to me. Connection. We talked about that a lot in my show, the spiritual connection. It's one of my core values. Integrity, joy.
Joy.
Love. I mean, to me, everything is love. We're all just pure love. That's what we're all about.
Pure love?
Pure love. So it's just, taking the time to experience that and to just believe in it. Just believe in it, because fear comes in and then love, it's harder for love to exist when you're having that fear. So what I, try to do for people is just find out, what the fear is about and try to, release that.
Can you give us like a quick, easy tip to let go of fear?
Well, quick and easy, probably not. Releasing, there's some techniques for releasing it. The breath work, breathing. What I used to do a long time ago when my son was little and he would have some fear, anxiety about something, I'd say, well, what is the worst that could happen?
What is the worst that could happen? And it sounds like saying yes is one of your solutions too.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for that
Just
answer.
Say yes.
Yeah, well, just try it, because seriously, what is the worst that could happen? I mean, I'm not talking about using that for any situation, obviously, something that's dangerous, but just in our type of world where we function every day, the worst that could happen for me is I look stupid. That's
not so bad.
It used to be. Like I look stupid, I'm embarrassed or something like that. It's like, how?
Yeah. How hard is that?
Right.
It's not that bad. No. So any parting wisdom?
Just give it a try. I think that's,
I
like what you're doing with this. Just say yes, give it a try. There's nothing threatening. Just be yourself. Find what drives you from your heart. Be in your heart more. For me, I was a head person. I still am in my head a lot, and you can think and think and think and think, and it doesn't really get you anywhere in the long run. So just be in your heart more. Open your heart. Open your heart.
Be open-hearted.
Be vulnerable. Be open-hearted. Just love. Just people, my philosophy is everybody has something really great to offer. And you just have to connect to that and look for it and just let them be who they are.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability with us today.
Well, you know what? I was a little nervous, Beth, but you did a good job of not making me embarrassed. Well, a little bit, but not too much.
Not too much?
No. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you can connect with Beth at 203tlc.com, and you can connect with me at...
Where can we do that, Katie?
I forgot. TransformationCenterCT.com. That's my website. Transformation Center CT. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. Hope to see you the next time. Blessings.
Thank you.